Hello, I'm Nick Melendez, and this is my MCP. So I chose to focus my media criticism project on Star Wars, particularly Episode 4, or just the original Star Wars, for those of you who don't know it, which was released in 1977. It was called A New Hope. It's the first installment of a movie saga created by George Lucas. It's a space opera that redefined many aspects of the film industry, including special effects, practical effects, the 12 stages of the hero's journey, and the making of subsequent series of films set in the same timeline or universe. Star Wars follows a hero's journey structure that was adapted for the silver screen by Christopher Vogler. The hero, Luke Skywalker, is aided by friends and a mentor that help him to defeat the Empire's weapon of mass destruction and save a rebellion. Star Wars was created as a much longer story and broken down into parts, which allowed Lucas to create a saga that would span over 40 years. Star Wars follows a hero's journey structure, which has since been duplicated in various films over the years. The factions set in the movie are reminiscent of true historical factions and the culture set around them. The empire in the film was developed around the Nazi regime, which was led by a dictator not unlike the antagonist in the movie. Darth Vader's fighting style and costume were influenced by Japanese samurai. The space battles were shot based on war movies with dogfighting scenes of real airplanes. Religious aspects based around the Force the Force in Star Wars stem from real religious influences like Judeo-Christianity. And here's a quote by Douglas Brode. I'll give it a second to read that. Okay, moving on. So Star Wars sets the tone for some major patterns in the movie industry, like creating a saga instead of making a standalone film. As of today, Star Wars has expanded to 9 feature films, multiple spin-offs, video games, fictional book series, comic book series, along with a slew of fan films and stories. This expanded universe helps define the current trend of developing a lore around the initial film and a story, much in the same way that Episode 4 has done for Star Wars. The long-running air quotes space opera theme of the original film carried through the rest of the original trilogy and the prequels, so it can be argued that the sequel trilogy differs from this theme and takes on a more contemporary storytelling theme that is not reminiscent of the golden age of cinema. Another obvious theme of the original Star Wars is that even though there are no set minorities in a galaxy far, far away, most of the human characters found in the movie are Caucasian. This pattern is consistent even into the prequel trilogy, though some of the more popular characters are also not Caucasian. This is especially important now with current political climate in the United States as well as the rest of the world. Since Star Wars is loved by fans around the world, it stands to reason that it has major influences over generations of people that pick up on these things in movies. Star Wars is a piece of high culture that seems to have no ceiling in terms of cultural influence. Star Wars has created a fandom that spans the globe and seems to have no racial or sexual bounds. In the US, Star Wars has created so many key points in pop culture that its impact reaches a variety of people and age groups. The saga spans over 40 years, with the original film being hailed as a piece of cinematic gold even by today's standards. The space opera style of movie challenges many younger viewers today, whilst also providing a conventional storytelling avenue for older viewers that grew up with the same influences that George Lucas did. The visual effects developed for the movie were so innovative that they pushed the letter of what could be done in movies and allowed for audiences to become even more immersed into a world that would otherwise have obviously been a movie set like older science fiction films. In my opinion, the original film didn't need any improvement, still doesn't, other than what Lucas deems worthy of being changed. The film should stand as an example for creators to not worry about what entitled fans may say, but rather what they want to share with the world. George Lucas was a target of much hate for the fans of his own for his own creation. Going back years later and adding to what he had already made with some edited DVDs. He made changes to the film so that would be better representative of his artistic vision, but many diehard fans, air quotes, were angry with him for doing so, even after having created something so clearly touched their lives. They were not willing to accept changes or evolutionary steps to possibly add to what was already there. If there was anything to be improved upon, it should be the degree to which Lucas allowed the fans to participate in his work. By allowing the public to create an expanded universe for Star Wars, he helped many people develop their own unique experiences. But this is a double-edged sword, as it gave way to a general sense of entitlement from the fans that would eventually choke the saga of any advancement in creativity. And here's a quote from John C. Lydon. From the fan point of view, this alteration in the canon may well be a religious event and heretical one of that. And there's a little meme just to kind of to show that off. Anyways, yeah, thanks for listening.